Hi, it's good to be with you. Thanks for watching my views and news. Two news stories for you. First one is about international response to the conflict, to the fighting clashes in the Amhara region of Ethiopia. International community responded slow, but now gradually we are seeing statements from international community, from human rights organizations about the gravity of the situation in the Amhara region. Amhara diaspora organizations are lobbying too, though they started a little late, I think. Uh, we'll compare international response to Tigray conflict and the conflict in Amhara and some statements for you of a US congressman and a human rights organization. Secondly, OLA and Ethiopian government remained silent lately in terms of clashes. OLA and military were not seen involved in clashes. After the start of conflict in the Amhara region, things went calm in the Oromia region. And we did not see large-scale fighting between OLA and government forces in Vailaga, in central Oromia too. But today OLA claimed that it had captured some government soldiers and weapons in an operation in West Shava. Details for you. First, viewers, when Tigray war broke out in November 2020, we saw that the war was internationalized. Why? Because Tigrayan diaspora played a key role. Tigrayan diaspora started protests. They lobbied to TPLF since it remained in power for around 3 decades in Ethiopia. So it had close connection with the US. It hired some lobbying firms too in the past. So it was easy for TPLF and Tigrayan diaspora to internationalize the conflict. Then international media became involved too, and Tigrayan journalists and Tigrayans, they shared information with information from the ground with international media, and international news outlets published stories, did videos on the conflict in Tigray, and those video stories were read and watched by tens of thousands of people. So Tigray war basically was selling, and international media was activated by Tigrayan diaspora community. But now, when there is conflict in the Amhara region, international response is very slow. Just a few days ago, international community realized the gravity of the situation when Fano fighters captured all major cities except Bahidar in the Amhara region. Then, not all, but several major cities. Back then, international community realized the gravity of the situation. Before that, we did not see any statements from human rights organizations, from US lawmakers about the conflict in the Amhara region. So Fano had to launch big operations to make international community realize that Fano was a player to reckon with in Ethiopia. Now we are seeing statements. We have seen several statements from the US. UN spoke to, and human rights organizations are speaking now. Amhara diaspora organizations are active now. Around 24 hours ago, AAA members held a meeting with Mike Hammer. Mike Hammer, US Special Envoy to the Horn of Africa, who played a key role in the resolution of the conflict in Tigray. He held a meeting with AAA, Amhara Association of America members at US State Department around 24 hours ago. Theodore Sterfe and other AAA members were there. AAA, other diaspora organizations, they are active. They are trying to make US lawmakers realize the gravity of the situation in the Amhara region. Then a US congressman spoke. He said that there are civilian casualties and civilian harm. He used the word civilian harm. That reports suggest that civilians were harmed and violence is ongoing in the Amhara region. The conflict should be resolved because stability in Ethiopia is key to stability in the Horn of Africa. His name is Jason Crow. He is a congressman. I think he's a Democrat. And then we saw a statement from Amnesty International. I think around 48 hours ago, I raised this issue that Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, others were silent. I said they were active about Tigray, or they used to share reports regularly about human rights situation in Tigray, and now when there is war in Amhara, there is complete silence. So Amnesty spoke yesterday. Amnesty International's East and South Africa wing head issued a statement, and the director, East Africa director, said that investigators, international media must be given access to the Amhara region. The director said that reports suggest that human rights violations are being committed. Drone strikes are being conducted in Fano and other areas. So that is why investigators should be allowed to enter Amhara region and investigate the complaints. Very important statement. Human Rights Commission of Ethiopia has also been saying that human rights are not being respected. People are being arrested. Human rights violations are being committed. Ethiopian government denies all these allegations, and yesterday we saw that some Ethiopian government nominated officials visited those people who have been arrested under the state of emergency proclamation. And this visiting delegation said that around 200, more than 200 had been arrested so far. And those who had been arrested, they were being kept in good conditions. But actual number, people say, is not 200. It is in thousands, some say. And family members are complaining. They say they don't have access. They don't know where their loved ones are. And this delegation was appointed by the state of emergency mechanism. So it's part of the government. It was a government delegation. We visited these arrested people. What is needed is that Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, Amnesty, Human Rights Watch, they should be given access to those people who have been arrested under the state of emergency proclamation. They should be given access to the Amhara region. Only then will we know what is happening, how many have been arrested, in which conditions are they being kept. But it seems that international community is going to speak now gradually. Amhara diaspora will have to be proactive like Tigrayan diaspora. Maybe Tigrayan diaspora hired lobbying firms to, I don't know of any lobbying firm hired by Amhara activists, Amhara diaspora so far. But it could happen in coming months if this conflict goes on. International community's role is important because obviously Ethiopian government will only listen to international community. Otherwise, internally there is no group which can stop Ethiopian PM Abiy, which can force PM Abiy to talk to Fano fighters. Internally, he is in command. Oromia wants the war to continue. I think Tigray would like the war to continue as well. So which other player in Ethiopia can stop PM Abiy from continuation of this conflict? None, I think. Outsider players can put pressure upon Ethiopian government to talk, to make a meaningful offer of talks, to appoint a committee of national level, at national level. International community can be involved as well. So far, this people say, Sajid, Ethiopian government offered dialogue to Fano. Fano is not flexible. I have not seen meaningful efforts by the government to offer dialogue to Fano fighters. If you remember, when dialogue was offered to Tigray, back then government formed committees. Government made the names of committee members public. So Tigray had to respond to. Tigray also formed committees. That is how offer of talks work. Government has not formed any committee on national level showing its intent to talk to Fano fighters. Yes, Fano fighters have been denying, they have been rejecting rather talks with the federal government. They say dialogue is not solution, but at least the government should try dialogue. It should form committees on national level that will put Fano fighters in difficult position. They'll have to respond. So government so far is focused on military solution. It wants to put an end to this armed threat from the Amhara region. Secondly, viewers, there was relative calm in the Oromo region of Ethiopia in the past 2 to 3 months, but things changing, or things are being shown as if they are changing. OLA has shared some pictures, videos from West Showa. West Showa is in central Oromia. Here, OLA fighters claim they, in a confrontation with the security forces, they captured several members of Ethiopian security forces and their weapons were captured too. OLA shared a video too of captured members of Ethiopian security forces and their weapons. There is a relative calm in Valaga, in Showa, in West Showa. And from Valaga, or from West Showa, or from Addis Ababa, Ethiopian National Defense Force is freely moving towards the Amhara region of Ethiopia. I think OLA has paused its military operation. Why? Because it is facilitating ENDF's entry into Amhara from Valaga. While ENDF is heavily involved in Amhara, OLA can take advantage of this position and take control of large territories in Valaga, but this type of military advance, OLA's advance towards new territories is nowhere to be seen on the ground. So somehow it seems there is some understanding between OLA and Ethiopian National Defense Force. Why? Because obviously, OLA wants to put an end to the armed threat from the Amhara region too. Because Fano fighters obviously can enter Oromia. One day they can be a threat to OLA. And Amhara region based groups, they have been arming Amharas in Valaga too. So that is why I think OLA, Oromia government, they would like the military operation in Amhara against Fano to continue. They are facilitating this operation. Only one clash between OLA and security forces in several weeks. We don't know about what happened on the ground, by the way. Just OLA has shared a few weapons and captured POWs. Watch the video shared by OLA showing weapons of government soldiers and some government security officials captured by OLA members in West Showa. Mitavulkaite. Mitavulkaite is in West Showa, Oromia region of Ethiopia. Thanks for watching.
Gaafa guyyaa 12 bara 2015 yookiin guyyaa har'aa aanaa meexxaa walqixxee bakka addaa minaaree jedhamutti Tigiroonni garaagaraa lola gaggeessanii muummiidiin har'aa akkuma argaa jirtan bireelota kana naafaroota uleelee yookiin kilaashii haakaamaa akkanumas diisqaa fi qabeenya garaagaraa dugda diinaarraa hiikkataniiru. Akkasumas dabalatee booji'amtoota hedduu yeroo gara kanatti argamaa jiranillee booji'amanii gara mooraa waraana bilisummaa Oromoo dhufanii jiru jechaadha. Uummata Oromoo fi baga gammadanii baga gammannee jechuu barbaanna. Akka waraana bilisummaa Oromootti waraana bilisummaa Oromoo cufaaf immoo baga injifannoo kana waliin argine jenna. Galatooma.